Do you ever watch a video and just go, ah, everyone is missing the point here? Internet content creator and most interesting man at the Thanksgiving dinner table, Hank Green, is embroiled in an AI controversy, and I think everyone is missing the point. So if you're out of the loop, it's pretty simple. Hank Green said something in one of his recent videos on his show, Ask Hank Anything, that sounded suspiciously AI generated. He claims this was not the case, but he did admit in a tweet that he has lately been over-relying on AI, and further expounded upon that in a Reddit thread, like how he's gotten pretty excessive dopamine from LLM usage, and his family has kind of had to step in and ask him to stop. People are missing what's going on with this. Hank talks in this thread about like how he uses chatbots to look up human written research papers. If I am Hank Green, I am not gonna use AI to write my videos. I don't need to do that. I'm Hank Green. I'm a communicator. And at least for the kinds of things that he posts on Hank's channel, I don't think he'd even have time to write a script with an LLM, and I don't know if that would help him that much. I think it's mostly obvious that those videos are like unscripted and edited together. Creators like Hank, they make a lot of stuff, and sometimes it's really hard to keep up. Hank Green makes a lot of stuff. In fact, there is a website, days since Hank Green has started something new.com. 35 days since Hank has started a new thing. Now, I understand what this is like because I too have Hank Green disease. I have too many ideas. I have a ton of them, and they basically have the effect of FOMO, but like for your own future, when you can imagine things all day long, cool ideas flitter into your head. And then they look at you back seductively and they go, oh, hey there, sexy ideas, man. Wanna make this happen, baby? Wanna bring something into the world? And you go, ah, grr, I can't right now. I have to do client work, ah. So what do? You make them smaller and you try to make them faster. Hank has been part of 2 word games recently within the last year. He's launched 4x3, which is kind of like Connections, and Smush, with his brother John, which is kind of like Spelling Bee, if you're familiar with a specific genre of like New York Times word games. None of Hank's recent projects have had like credits to developers. Neither of these games, from what I can tell, have those credits listed. A year ago, he made another app. It's called Focus Friend. It's like a really cool focusing app. And Hank talked about a collaborator that he worked with, a developer, Bria, from, and I looked this up, Honeybee Games. The app makes money, and that goes on to support the developers and the artists that work on it. And as far as I know, none of Hank's newest sites are monetized, but even though these games don't make money, they could certainly be sold in the future to other companies if they have enough daily users. I can see Hank making a deal with like the New York Times for one of these apps. Although to be fair, he has put them on pause during his recent controversy. It seems within Hank's reach to hire somebody to help make this happen. Some credit where credit is due, Hank somewhat famously was a web developer for a while. And like most web developers these days, he can do a lot more than he used to if he wants to start using AI. But if this was 2022, he'd have to hire a team of developers to help make these games. I would love to find out that I was wrong and that there were people involved. I would love to be wrong here. It seems like in an effort to make all the things that he wants to make, some rough edges are getting paved over with LLMs, and that could include software. There's a lot of temptations as a business owner to use AI. When you wear as many hats as Hank does, I feel like there's a temptation to live beyond your human scale, to try to do all of the things, even if you don't like AI very much. Hank Green seems like he's somewhere in between. He seems like he has antipathy about how these LLMs are trained, the economic influences and power that they have gained, but he also seems powerless personally against the pull of like a potential speed gain. I think we all stand to gain a lot from talking about how we use tools, AI or not, and like what the tools are. So I want to explain to you how I make my videos. I don't use generative AI, but I have a couple of gray areas, and I'd rather just say what they are. I'd rather just put it out there. I'm a live streamer that uses motion capture puppeted with characters in a game engine. The motion capture drives the characters. That's how you see what you're seeing on screen. This is me talking to you through a virtual me. And I script these videos. I write these out. I write them to so that I can say them when I'm live on my stream. I wrote my own system that feeds my script into a teleprompter and lets me read it. This is what I'm looking at right now. You can kind of see it. You can kind of see it on the corner here. It also cuts the cameras in between my paragraphs and lets me create text headings. So all of this is live inside the stream, and I didn't vibe code any of it. There's a machine telling Woody to say, what the hell, man? I wrote the script. If I'm happy with the script, I can kind of just shoot it. I can put it out there. And if I flub one of my takes, I can just retry it. Now, I don't really want to do that because we're live, right? That's like weird. When I go to edit the videos, well, it's kind of all laid out. It's all like in one long continuous take. I usually just have to cut a few extra bits off. So DaVinci also has a feature that can take this a step further. It lets me upload my script and then compare it against the transcribed data. So essentially it will match the video file to the script I wrote and then hand me a new timeline with edits. All right, Editor Woody here. I want to show you what happens when I use IntelliScript. I'd go to my video here, I'd right click on it, and then I would go to create new timeline using IntelliScript. So then I have my script here, and all it is just the text of everything that I wrote down for the video. So I'm gonna open that. Now, at first, you might be thinking, oh, Woody, you've just generated an entire timeline. Oh my God, you just got AI to edit your entire video. I have a timeline, it's true, but it doesn't really work. Like, this is never something I would upload. It sucks. Like, it is removed a lot of stuff that's in the script as well as a lot of stuff that isn't in the script, which is mostly what I want because I cut these live from a stream. I'm not always gonna get all the words right. Look at the actual timeline that I have been working on. Look at how many more cuts I have. Look at, I have B-roll and things. I have so many more cuts in here. And as I've said before, all the camera cuts and stuff, that's like embedded into the stream. So that's just in my file. Now in the future, I think that I actually don't really want to have to use this at all. I want to just like do the video one take Jake style live completely with like, I can see a future where I don't need any editing at all as I get better and better at communicating directly with you guys. And if you've been around for a while, you've seen me get better at this. And if you're in the live stream right now, I'm looking at all you guys in the chat. I really appreciate it. It helps me a lot to know that I'm talking to someone and not just to a computer. So there is also one other tool, and that's Figma's background deleter tool. This is a button that deletes the background on an image in Figma. It turns what might have been like 8 clicks in Photoshop into just 1. And I use this mainly for when I'm making thumbnails. This is also a tool that I kind of want to stop using. So Figma is a startup that IPO'd recently, and by my clock, they're probably set to start enshittifying pretty soon. Can we just get it out of our system here? Figma balls, okay? And I like it a lot. It's really easy to use. But I already own a copy of Affinity 2, which I used to replace Adobe Photoshop. Neither of these tools are generative AI. Both of them help me with tasks that I do myself already. But I want to tell you like what that is, and I want to be honest about that. I want to show you what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Transparency is a powerful thing, especially for a creator that doesn't really like to show his real face very often. AI that takes people's jobs sucks, but I think any tool that isn't taking the value away from the workers and is helping them do less drudge work can be very powerful. But instead of me defending it, tell me what you think. I don't absolutely need these tools to do my work, so it doesn't really offend my sensibilities if there's a good argument to stop using them. Just like, be nice to me. So stay kind and keep making stuff.